Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
While tiredness caused by sleepless nights attending to a newborn baby or toddler impacts every other aspect of our lives. However, Erica Hargaden from Babogue has a solution to this problem, and she joins us now to tell us more. Erica, we'll be discussing Babogue and how you are helping parents right across the world. But first, you might provide us with an insight into your own career journey to date.
Good morning, Carl. Thank you so much for having me. Well, I suppose my career background started when I was 25 after I'd finished a master's in Smurfit. I went into my family business and the whole lot of us were in it at the time, my three brothers and myself, but I never really fit within the organisation. I didn't feel like it was the right place for me, despite me having grown up with this business around me my entire life. I went and I got a job, started right back down at the bottom again, answering phones in Punchestown Racecourse. And I was there for 10 years and kind of climbed the ladder a little bit from a sales perspective, and eventually was part of the team delivering the 5-day festival that a lot of people will be familiar with, that usually happens in April every year. But I always wanted to be self-employed. It was just a dream of mine to be able to run my own business. I suppose I had grown up with it. It was something that I was watching my family, embroiled in. And I had that graw, but I didn't have that idea. And I was always searching and thinking about, that moment or that thing, that the light bulb. And it wasn't until I helped a very, very good friend with her beautiful twin boys and their sleep that her husband said to me, Erica, you should be doing this for a living. And the light bulb moment went on for Babogue.
So talk to me about the problem that your good friend was having and how you helped her resolve that.
So she had beautiful miracle twin boys, and at 6 months old they were still waking every 2 hours overnight, and they weren't doing any maybe solid napping during the day. And she was already back to work. So she was a full-time working mum, and her husband full-time running his own business, and they were getting absolutely no sleep. And I was working with her at the time, and she sat down in front of me and literally the tears just blobbed down her face. She was destroyed with sleep deprivation. And she knew that I had successfully worked on my own children's sleep over the years. I have 3 great sleepers as a result of, I suppose, what I've learned. And she asked me to advise her on what to do with the twins. So I did that. I went to her home, we sat down, we talked through, what they needed to change around their routine and different things that they needed to do with them in order to help them learn the skill of being able to sleep. And within a week, the boys were sleeping through the night, except for one overnight feed, which is very typical for a 6-month-old, and they were doing more solid napping. So quite a big transformation by putting in place the things that I advised.
So Babogue was born, but I suppose for many parents they feel that, getting a child to sleep is more an art than a science. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a science. It's absolutely a science. There is a science behind sleep. We are born to sleep. Our bodies require it and need it in order to function properly. So we are designed to need to sleep. And I fully believe that by education and information and really opening up, sleep and it not being a mystery, that as parents, we can lead our children towards really, really good sleep.
Where there's sleep deprivation, it must lead to awful levels of tension in relationships between partners.
Absolutely. I've lived this, and my husband won't mind me saying it, but we were only married a year when our first child was born. He's now 12 and the marriage has survived. But I really felt like it was over. We weren't communicating. We weren't getting on at all. It was pure arguments. I was chronically sleep deprived. The sleep deprivation with my first child had an extreme negative effect on me. It was something that I never would have thought was part of who I was. I didn't actually realise how high sleep needs I was, and there is different levels of sleep need for sure. And I was really, really struggling. And I know from speaking to the hundreds and hundreds of parents I've worked with one-to-one and the community that I've developed around my online sleep program, the Sleep Series, that this is not unique. This is across the board. You know, if we are not sleeping well, it's very hard for us as human beings to hold any type of relationship.
So, Erica, what is Babogue and what results is it delivering?
So Babogue started out as a very traditional one-to-one consultation and support service for parents. When I started the business, I was going to people's homes. I was helping people with, overnight stays with babies and conducting Zoom and Skype consultations. That has evolved a little bit. I very quickly realised that business model was already capped within the first 6 months of starting because I could only work with a certain amount of clients on a monthly basis because I'm only one person. There's not two of me to go around. So I decided one night, driving to a family in Wicklow, well, how am I going to change this? How am I going to resolve this? And at the same time, I had launched online video content on Instagram that families were really, really enjoying. And I was like, right, how can I leverage this? So I came up with the idea for the Sleep Series there and then, that I was going to create an online video-based sleep program that could help families with their children's sleep. And I went to my local enterprise office in County Kildare and I received, very, very welcoming support from them, both financial and non-financial. And really without their support, I couldn't have launched the Sleep Series. I launched that in November 2019 and it's now being used by 2,500 families in 31 countries.
So provide us with an insight into what parents will experience during the Sleep Series.
So if they go onto the website babogue.com, they'll be able to get a run through of all of the content that is within each program. There's 5 different programs currently, one for newborn and then 4 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, 9 to 18 months and the toddler years. I've grouped it like that because within those age ranges there is certain changes that happen around sleep that are relevant to the months within those age ranges and you can group them together. So if you purchase a particular program, it'll be relevant for a good period of time to your child before the next kind of tranche of change might kick in. Once they've gone through the programs, they get loads of sleep information and they also get access to my 7 steps to better sleep, which is 7 key things that really need to be in place around your child's sleep for you to see the sleep success. And then they can go themselves and put together their own plan based on what they want to do with their child, what sits well with them from a parenting perspective, because there's a lot of choice within the information that I give parents because everybody's different. We won't all make the same decisions around our children and every child is different. And then they go off, they can implement their plan and they can immediately gain access to the Facebook community from a support perspective. So they can log in there and troubleshoot. We're on day 3 and this is what's happening. Erica, do you have any insight into what we're doing? Are we on the right path? They can gain that support that really I feel parents are craving. That information and expert-led knowledge from a community health perspective, there's very little about sleep. So they're maybe reaching to platforms and people like me for guidance in that respect.
And Erica, you've already achieved some international success with the business. What are you going to do now to leverage that?
Well, we're looking to grow into markets outside of Ireland. Ireland is extremely important to us and we will obviously continue to offer the Sleep Series here and any additional services that we look to, add on over the next number of months and years. But we've had significant growth in the last year in the UK and we're looking to continue to grow that. We're also looking to use the investment that we've had to look into the US markets, to look at New Zealand and Australia where sleep is just paramount. They've really done a great job there from a health perspective, informing parents about sleep. Look, we're looking to all of the English-speaking territories and one by one to establish a footprint and to grow from that footprint.
And finally, Erica, for the sleep-deprived parents that are listening this morning, what advice have you got for them?
Honestly, one of my top tips for sleep-deprived parents is to try and be organised. I think one of the things that can happen when you are sleep-deprived is that things can get a little bit chaotic and a little bit scatty. Lean in to the people you know and love and that who will support you. Get them to do things for you. Get people to do, one-pot wonder dinners for you that are going to last you a couple of days. Make sure that you lay out your clothes the night before. Make sure that you kind of know what's happening in your diary so that you're not maybe forgetting things and then feeling that thing of, I'm so not organised. You're going through a difficult period of time. So I think by minding yourself from a health perspective, getting out in fresh air, and then when you do get to sleep, whenever that might be, if you're dealing with a challenge with a child, your body is more likely to get rested and restored from it.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Erica Hargaden from Babogue, and I do hope that the sleep-deprived parents in the Southeast will soon be making a good night's sleep a regular habit.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.